Hi, this is Denise at PaperKraftD, and today I'm going to show you how I make a curved spine for a journal. I really love this technique because it adds like a touch of elegance to a journal and just really has a nice finish. I'm going to use as an example my Mother Mary journal that I am creating, and this is part 3 of 6 of the process video for that journal, so you can follow along if you care to, and that is shown in the photos above. Okay, so for this journal, I need to make a 2-inch spine to go between these two book covers.
Okay, so I'm going to use the back of this watercolor paper. It seems like a lot of watercolor paper have these really thick back covers. This one is about 2 millimeters thick. I don't know if you can see that there. And it's about the same thickness as my book covers. So you can kind of see that. All right, so I'm just going to take, 2 inches off of the bottom. This should be square already. So I'm just going to use my cutting board or my trimmer to line this up. And I'll probably have to make a few passes on this to get it to be even. I may even have to turn it over. Yeah. So all I'm going to do now is do the other side, also at 2 inches. Then look at that. Looks pretty good. Mark this at 6.5, which is the length of the covers. That's 2 and 2 by 6.5. And then that's the same height as length as the cover. I want to make this a curved spine, so I'm going to use this tube. This is just from some vinyl that I had purchased, a 24-inch vinyl. And I don't have liquid starch, but I have this stuff. It's called Alene Stiff and Quick, and it's for making fabrics stiff. And I could spray it on there, but I think I waste a lot doing that. So I'm actually going to just use a brush and brush it on. There we go. Use it on top of this because will soak up some of the excess. All right. So I want to just get this nice and wet with this. I'm going to do both sides. And this method of getting the spine curved quickly, I got from Klimmie's Creations, CLIMMIE'(s) Creations, and I will put a link to her YouTube channel in the description box below so that you can check out her video for yourself. It is brilliant, I must say, just brilliant. I've done this before, and I'm too impatient to wait overnight, honestly. I can't do it. So this is wonderful to have, this is an option. Okay. So I'm just going to saturate this whole thing really, really well so that it gets nice and wet. That'll make it easier to kind of curve. Right. I'm gonna have to wet this a couple times, so I'm just gonna get a baby wipe out to wrap my brush in so that I don't, it doesn't dry up on me. Okay, I'm gonna add more on this side. I just want this really nice and saturated. Okay, that looks like it's pretty much, hopefully that's saturated all the way through. Yeah. All right, I did this the wrong way. I should have cut this the other direction. See how this is bending like this? It's not bending like that. It's bending this direction. So I need to cut. Okay, so learn from my mistakes. All right, so what I really need to do is not cut the bottom off of this, but I need to cut it this direction because it's bending this direction like that. Okay, so now I'm just going to cut 2 inches off of there. Okay. All right, that looks pretty good. That looks really good. I'm gonna do 6.5 off of here. I better do it on the other side too. Okay, that looks pretty good now. Okay, it feels like it needs a tiny little bit more off of there. Alright, so let's hope that's right now. Alright, that's pretty darn close. Go back and do the same thing and just saturate this piece. Both sides, just keep going back and forth until it seems to bend of its own accord a little bit. Okay, so I just did the same thing as I did with the other one, and you can see now it is, bending in this direction, which is what I want without having to break the fibers too much in there. It just naturally curves that way. So that's cool. All right, so now I'm just taking this and I'm going to kind of line it up with the bottom of this, just on a flat surface like that. I'm gonna slip this little, I tied it off, so it's, just kind of like a little circle. But before I start tying it down, I'm just gonna make sure this is flush with the surface. And then I'm just gonna start going around. Again, I'm making sure this stays flush with the surface. Okay, good. And that'll hopefully keep this even with that edge. Wrapping it as much as it kind of seems to need to be wrapped in order to keep it so the edges stay down and don't gap. When people let this dry overnight, they put it with some nylon. I've seen people use nylons to tie this off, and that's great, but I don't, I'm going to use the heat gun on this, so I don't want the nylons to melt. So the string works really well. I'm just going to take my heat gun and I'm just going to dry this just like that. So it feels pretty dry. I'm just going to take the string off. So now you can see this is making a nice curve. If I had used the other one and forced it to curve the way, the opposite way than it was naturally going, it would have cracked. So this way, I could be pretty sure that this is not going to crack on me, which is, you know, what we're going for here. All right, so you can see it's still super wet. It is a bit curved. And let's see, it's not exactly lying completely flat, but that's okay. I think as it dries, it'll be better. So I'm gonna go ahead and dry this interior just like this. Okay, so that's looking pretty good and it's pretty solid. I'm gonna add a little bit more of this stiff stuff to it. I'm gonna do, let's see, Clemmy recommended doing like 2 or 3 coats per side. So these I'm not going to saturate as much. I'm just going to do a real quick one and then dry it. Do that at least once or twice more. Okay, and let's see, doesn't look like it's, yeah, it looks like it's basically down. That's good. All right, I'm gonna, let's see, I'm gonna wet it and then dry it on this again. Okay, so I re-wet it on both sides and then I'm going to dry it again. All right, this is feeling pretty sturdy now. Probably do maybe one more layer just on the outside and then dry it. Okay, so that is working pretty well. It seems like it's pretty much even on all the sides, so that's good.
So what do I mean by even on all sides? What I'm looking for here is that the width of the spine from the very top to the very bottom is the same. It's consistent all the way down the length of the spine. And I'm also looking at the right and left hand sides of the spine to make sure that they're both completely flush with the mat. And that will make it really easy to attach the front and back covers of the journal to the spine. Okay, so the next step is to attach the spine to the book covers. And I am not going to do that in this video because this video is getting a little bit on the long side, but that will be in the next video in this series, part 4 of the Mother Mary Journal process videos. And so I hope you check that out. And just to recap, I just want to remind everyone that when you are creating a curved spine, you have to be aware of the grain of the substrate that you're using. In this case, the chipboard from the back of a watercolor tablet. And sometimes you can't tell that easily until you've completely saturated it like I did in the video. And make sure that you're getting the correct direction that it is going to curve. So you want it to curve along the spine, not against the curvature of the spine, or the spine will crack as you're trying to curve it. Second of all, I just want to recap that it looks like when I created this, I completely saturated it 2 times and wrapped it up on the tube and dried it. Took it off, and then if it was still dry, I dried it some more, especially on the inside. And then I just brushed the Aleene's stiffy stuff a couple times, like 3 more times, and I did that without putting it back on the tube, just to get it really nice and solid. And again, if you don't have the Aleene's, no big deal. You can get like a liquid starch at the Dollar Tree. I want to thank Clemmy from Clemmy's Creations for this wonderful hack. I mean, this is it's a game changer. It makes it so much easier to do a curved spine, and to do it for projects without having to plan way in ahead, days in advance for everything to dry overnight and whatnot. So I really love this process. Thank you so much, Clemmy, for sharing that with us, and I will include the videos that she had created in the description box below. I really love this process. I think it just adds a really elegant finish to your journal. And it doesn't have to be a real dramatic curved spine. It can just be a very subtle curved spine like this one is that I created in this journal. So I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you found it helpful, please give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment in the description box below. It really helps my channel be seen. I'm hoping that it will grow to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year, which is December 2023, so fingers crossed. Remember, if you want to see how this journal finishes up, watch the rest of the series. And again, this is Denise with PaperKraftD, and craft on!